I'm out here and I'm gonna tine weed. So I bought a Hatzenbichler 30-foot tine weeder back last fall. Good morning, guys. It is May 24th and I'm out here tine weeding my corn that I planted 2 days ago. So it's been in the ground right at 48 hours, maybe a little bit less by the time I got the field done. But I'm out here and I'm gonna tine weed. So I bought a Hatzenbichler 30-foot tine weeder back last fall. I've tine weeded the soybeans on that side a couple times, and I'm using it the first time here on the cornfield. So I'm pretty happy with it. Works pretty well. Just tell you a little bit about it. So first off, these are 6mm tines. That's what Matt at Bayshore Sales recommended. So you can get 6 or 7mm tines. These are 6. So the beds are they rock back and forth a little bit, contour the ground just a little. They don't go a whole lot, but for flat fields, you really don't need them to rock back and forth too much. So hydraulically adjusted tine angle. Some of them are manually adjust. I got hydraulic adjust. And the cool thing about Hatzenbichler, it goes through a hydraulic block, I guess you could call it, so that all of the tines will pitch and angle at the same time. So they've got orifices in there, which just makes it a whole lot better. I'm not picking on Einbach. That's another brand of tine weeder, but they have a, don't know exactly how to pronounce or how to say it, but it's more like an open flow system to where oil will flow to the least resistance. So not all the tines will go at the same time, and it takes a little bit to get those adjusted. So I'll go over just a few of my settings. Right now I'm running with about 2 inches of ram showing. That's what Matt said to do. So it's just a little bit, it's about right at half, maybe just a little bit over on that indicator. And then I'm running in the second hole on my gauge wheels. 1 hole showing, second hole from the bottom. So that is on all of them, all the way across. These tines are spaced at 1.5 inches apart. So should be getting pretty well all the weeds out. It does a really good job, levels things out. One thing I found out really quickly is it can act like a dump rake if you have a lot of residue. So you just have to make sure your fields are extremely clean and very little residue to use this. I had some issues on the other side where I had my cereal rye. I thought I got it killed the first pass over with the Lemkin, but it regrew and it got about 18 inches tall, and I took it down again right before I planted beans, and just had some issues with the regrowth. I'll walk over here real quick and just kind of show you. So it got through the main part of the field okay, but then on the ends, I just had a lot of this stuff. It's mainly just the root balls of the rye. So actually had to take a torch and burn them off. So but it worked out pretty well. Show you real quick here if I can find a row. Beans they're about up, so I'm pretty excited. There's still little bitty weeds coming up there too. Yep, there they are. Just gotta pull the dirt back a little bit. So those will be up here in another day or two. They'll be out of the ground. So I'll get some video, the tine weeder running. Just wanted to give another quick update, what's going on. So hope you enjoy. So right now I'm running at about 9 miles an hour. I could possibly run faster, but I feel comfortable at 9. This thing's pretty light. I really don't need to be running it on the 8320R. That's really overkill. But this is a tractor that I've got free right now. The 8400's still on the planter. So this thing's pretty light, like I said, and it can get bouncing around some if you go over some bumps. So I feel like 9 mile an hour is kind of a sweet spot where you're not bouncing a whole lot, but still moving enough to cover a lot of acres. You see here, you can do about 32 acres an hour. That's with it in the ground. That's not turning on the ends. So I don't know, 26, 27 acres an hour maybe with turning. So it's doing a pretty good job. I'll get out here in a little bit and show you, dig around and show you what it's doing. So here's what it looks like in the ground. You can actually see right there, look at that guy. So it's doing a pretty good job. I've been back here digging just like that. See, it's worth being out here and doing this. A lot of times I have to convince myself that it's worth being out here, but when you see the results, it's definitely worth being out here. So another thing I like about this versus a rotary hoe, these tines over the wheel tracks seem to scratch up a little bit more dirt and get rid of a few more weeds better than the rotary hoe does. So that's pretty big for me, because weeds like to grow best in compacted soils. Not all, but they seem to grow a little bit more where the tire tracks run. So having that scratched up a little bit just makes it a whole lot better come the second pass. So these 6mm tines, see, they're not very, they're strong enough to go through the ground and scratch it up and rip out the weeds, but they're pretty gentle, and you can obviously adjust, you know, the tension from your tine angle. So I can make these a lot more aggressive, but I don't want to be too aggressive and dig the seed out or the corn out. So you can see there's pressure on the beds, but you know, not a whole lot. You want these to be these stops here to be rubbing on this bar. I had the hydraulic third link. I had to tilt it back just a little bit to make sure that the pressure was still on those. So I'll go back here and dig and see if I can find some seed. The hardest thing about the tine weeder is actually finding the row, because it completely you know, just covers everything. You can't tell where a row is, so it's really hard to dig. The soybeans weren't that hard, but the corn's a lot harder because it's spaced a lot more. So I'm gonna dig here and see if I can find a seed. Okay, so I found 1, 2, 3 all in a row, untouched. So this is where, if I pull this dirt back, you can tell it's pretty, it's still pretty firm. And this seed's about, I would say 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch below the firm part of the soil, which is exactly what you want, because you don't want that tine ripping out the seed. So, and you can see, I mean, look at all these little guys. You know, I mean, there's a ton of weeds in here, and I'm either ripping them out or covering them up or putting them on top dry dirt where they're gonna dry out. They'll be dried out in 10 minutes, probably less than that. Those little white threaded weeds. So that's what I want to see. I want to see untouched seeds. So this one's already got, he's got a little sprout on him, so that's good. And it looks like it's pretty deep, because I pulled a lot of dirt back. I planted them somewhere around that, made sure they were all at least 2 inches deep, if not 2 1/4. So by the time I get done with this, they're probably 2 1/2 at the deepest. But honestly, if they're 2 1/2 inches deep, I mean, it's 80 degrees this week, and you know, there's no rain in the forecast. 2 1/2 inches deep it's not too deep for corn. Honestly, I planted the beans at the same depth, and you know, you saw they're coming up. Today would be exactly 1 week the beans have been in the ground. So you know, I don't really feel like it's too deep or burying it too much. So I'm just gonna keep going. You saw the weeds that I'm pulling out, so it's definitely worth doing something out here. If I didn't have the tine weeder, I'd be running the double rotary hoe. So we're just gonna keep working at it. Also, if you guys are following along with my other videos, this is where the 19-way mix was last year. So ended up working this, it would have been worked, well, the whole field would have been worked 4 times, twice with the Lemken Rubin and twice with a field cultivator. I've learned over the last few years that it's a lot better to have really fine soil, tine weeding, rotary hoeing, cultivating. It all just goes so much better when it's a lot finer. Clods and clumps just are not very good for running weeding equipment. It just makes things a whole lot better when it's finer soil. So I've just figured that out over the last few years. So I want to get away from so many passes. But I had to take down the cover crop. I had to work the litter in, and that was about a month ago, maybe a little bit more. And so then there were a lot of weeds that were coming up. I didn't want those to get too big where the field cultivator couldn't take them out. I mean, they weren't real big. They were only, you know, 2 inches tall at the most. But I just didn't want to get a lot of roots established. Also, the thistles that I showed in my taking the cover crop down, that video, they were coming back. So I just wanted to get all of the weeds just terminated, everything, and then we had a rain over the weekend, and then I wanted to work it one more time. I know a lot of guys are running these tine weeders as pre-emerge, or not pre-emerge, but pre-plant, so you don't have to run a field cultivator again. But I don't know, there's just something about just making sure that that ground is just totally weed free. So I just ran the field cultivator again, and I know it's doing it's bringing up more weed seed, but I don't know. I guess maybe that's something to play with, doing this as a pre-plant pass versus the field cultivator. But that's what I did, and I feel pretty comfortable with it. So yeah, just wanted to show you what the field looked like. I'll get out and show you again when I get over to the just the straight clover. Okay guys, so I am over here in the side of the field that had just straight frost-seeded clover, and it is going through just fine. I'm not raking anything up, maybe just a little bit on the ends, but it's doing a very good job getting through the all the root balls and everything. Again, if you go back to when I worked this down, it looked pretty I don't want to say pathetic, but the first few times that I worked clover down just scared me. I was so sure that it was just going to be a mess, couldn't plant through it, and honestly, it's just amazing how much clover just melts away and makes a really nice seed bed. Like I said earlier, you know, making sure that you have all of your passes, tillage passes, so that the ground works up really nice and is really fine. The one thing I don't like about this 8320 is it does not turn as tight as like an 8400 does. So I've got to get, you know, aligned perfectly so I don't run over any corn or anything. But this tractor doesn't turn quite as sharp as what the 84 does, and with 30-foot equipment, it's just not exactly the best fit. But like I said, 84 is still on the planter, so we're using this one today. I normally have SF1 on this. I've got a 6000 receiver. Normally have SF1, but I actually used some demo grace periods. Upgrade to SF3, so I'm a little bit more accurate today. I only have one RTK globe at the moment, so and it's on the 84 to plant with. So yeah, so this is probably what I'm gonna finish up this field, and probably find something else to do today. But this is what I wanted to show you guys today. So hope you like this video. Again, I try to make my videos with a lot of information in them and not just entertainment. So hopefully you enjoy that. If you do, let me know how I'm doing. So see you on the next one.